individual out here that's really taking a stand. He represents us well. So many things I can say about this guy. Respect is one of them I have for you, and I want to let you know that Trayvon White is in the building, y'all.
What's up, man?
Man, how you feeling today, man?
Blessed, man. Just my grind, man. That's okay. Got off a panel talking about gentrification.
Oh yeah? Oh, that's a big topic.
They took my changing to the river to end. But about that.
So what you think about it?
I think that historically we need to keep our names and our identity because new people coming in, they're gonna run with it, and it's really not about changing the name of an area. It's about changing the culture and the mindset of our people, investing in education, quality health care, services, just giving people what they need to stand up on their own 2 feet. And you can change the name, but if you don't change the culture, the mind of people to become better and stand up, then you're just changing the name. And a lot of people do that because they want developers to invest in that community or build in that community because it changed the negative connotations of a community. Like Noma. Like I didn't know what Noma was I never heard of no Noma. But because they changed the area of Northwest to what is called Noma, it got a subway called Noma, the neighborhood called Noma, and that's new to the district. And so people move there because it's an up and coming bright neighborhood that people want to invest and put money into and live. But it was never such thing called Noma. But that's the direction we're going in with the gentrification in Washington, D.C.
So many questions I want to ask you. First thing I want to know, what made you get into politics?
Oh, man. What made me get into politics, I was never really into politics, really. I was really about being an activist on the front line, trying to affect change in community, and then that holding politicians accountable, And I had a guy who name was William Lockridge. He was heavy into politics. He was actually the school board member when Marion was the council member for Ward 8. And my cousins had got shot in this horrific shooting. He came and helped us. And he saw the type of connectivity and relationships I had in the community. And he was basically saying, what you're doing is everything is political. From trying to get these guys jobs to dealing with the public health issues in the community to the public safety issues. He was like, politics is a distribution of resources. And the reason we're in the situation we're in now is because we have been neglected of those resources. And so I was like, all right. So he wanted me to run for school board. And I was like, school board, I'm gonna make $15,000 a year. I'm like, what's that gonna do, And so I was talking to him on a Thursday, and then we met. I was with him on Thursday. We met up. We talked on Friday. Right after I got on the phone with him, about 2 hours later, he went into a coma and he died. And so I was like, wow, And then his wife, who is now my chief of staff, Wanda Lockridge, she called me and said she had a conversation with her husband that morning. He wanted me to run. I was like, this is a lot of pressure. I figured I'd run, for the sake of his name, probably won't win, and go on about my business. But I won the election. And so I really got into it, really got acclimated about how we can influence policy change through being on the other side of the government, instead of fighting in the government, trying to affect it, change from the inside. And so that opened up the door for me to run for council member. Now, people don't know, I lost my first election in politics on the council. They say I lost by 70-something votes, was allegedly.
Okay,
allegedly. But I always say you can't conquer anything you're not committed to. And so I quit my job at the time, and I ran again, and God blessed me. The people of Southeast Ward 8, Southwest part of Ward 8 came up and stood up, and people came out for me and supported me. And so I'm forever indebted to people who believed in me, even though I don't fit the stereotype of a traditional politician. I didn't raise a lot of money. I ran against a person who raised $500,000. I raised $30,000. And, the only people who raise the money is the people who win.
Right.
But one thing I learned from Marion is we got to put power back in people. 'Cause that's where the power lies. And so I'm in office fighting every day that we just not get equality, but we get equity because we're so far behind and get access to the resources that we need, especially those who've been here in the long run. They got the whole Don't Mute DC movement, got the whole movement around the hospital, but it's about essential services that we need in the community that we're fighting for.
Can you speak more about the hospital issue as far as that movement?
Yeah, so what happened with the hospital, let me get my live going since y'all on y'all live.
Okay, go ahead, get your live going.
So we're going to go live right there, bam. So the issue with the hospital was that United Medical Center is owned by the District of Columbia. It's a DC owned hospital, and over the years we've been pretty much giving a proposal out to get operators to run the hospital, and we had Veritas last year. We have another company running it this year, and in doing that, we've been putting less money into the hospital to be operable. You know, we lost our obstetrics unit. That's the unit that allows doctors to have babies in the hospital. We had a few issues with that, but since then there's been a series of divestment in the hospital, money taken away, and so when the mayor budget came over to the DC Council, it was at $40 million. And that's what they were proposing to keep the hospital up. I thought that, to be honest, that was an extremely high number based on the amount that was used in the previous years. It was never that high. And if that amount of money, we should have kept the last operator, Veritas, who was operating much less rate, even though it was still struggling. The actual building in itself is what we call, in real estate, a functional obsolescence, meaning that the building is so old, it's falling apart. So we can put all the money into we want. We just dumping money into a building that's falling apart. And so we knew that we needed a new hospital. So under the leadership of then Mayor Gray, he put money in for a new hospital east of Anacostia River, and that money got taken out when he lost his election. But now he's back. We put in almost $325 million for a new hospital. But in that vein, the hospital not here yet. And so when the budget came over, Councilmember Gray took the money out the budget to do other things involving stuff that he thought was priority. And it's bigger than the hospital, right? We need a healthcare system to address the trauma in our community. We have a lot of people who have kidney disease, may have STDs, may have high blood pressure, diabetes, and so a lot of our elders, everybody don't use UMC, right? But there is a population who use it on a regular basis, and people who we have patients there, and there's a lot of senior citizens in our community to go see their primary care physician right there because they don't want to travel all across the city because they may not have the resources. They have to choose between paying for Uber or Seabury or Metro Access, then going to the medical center, which is closer. And they have relationships with their doctor. They know their body, they know their health, know their diet. So we've been fighting for that. We got $22 million in the budget, not right now, to keep it open. But we still need more. So we've been fighting.
I seen when you was on you posted something on your Instagram TV, and you was talking about like the school budget.
Yeah.
About like Anacostia and Ballou, and I always wonder like how you go speak in Congress, like how you go talk to these people. And when I'm watching it, you use the word, what you say, bullshit.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe you used. I'm like, is he gonna say what I think?
I was trying to find a better word, but I couldn't find no better word. I was searching.
He was like, what I'm trying to say? Ebonics. Then he said, I'm like, I know he ain't about to say what I think, but I always wonder like how you handle that. And when you showed me that, it just showed me that you really there for us. Yeah. Like you speaking your mind, you ain't really sugarcoat nothing, and I appreciate that though. Yeah,
word. So I guess we're in what we call budget season of the city council. So the mayor proposes a budget and send it to us, and we are over top of committees. Like I'm over top of youth and recreation affairs, and you got other people over top of like judiciary. You got people over top of like transportation and environment, health. You got people over top of human services, and so when the budget comes over, we kind of figure out ways to fit priorities that we want to see happen in the city, because we do oversight of all the government agencies from MPD to the fire department to DCPS. And when it came down to education, first of all, DC had a $14.5 billion budget last year. This year we had a $15.5 billion. So that means we had $1 billion extra in the budget that we didn't have last year. So you think we should be doing more. And so when I started looking at the education disparities what's happening in our schools, my staff and I was analyzing it. We noticed that between schools in Ward 8, 15 of those schools total received a $10.4 million cut. And I was like, that's crazy. And it go by per pupil spending, so it spends it based on the students. But we said with that, if you keep divesting in schools, parents don't want to send their students to a school that's low performing or maybe struggling or we're not investing in. So we sending a message. I believe there's an old proverb to say, where your heart is, there your treasure will be also. And so we're not putting money in the schools to address the inequities, because teachers don't just teach. They have to deal with the social ills that come from the community inside the schools, to children not eating, to the mental health services, to the substance abuse issues. All this stuff happens in the school building. And we're bringing together a population that normally don't speak or communicate outside of being in the school, because we have a lot of territorial issues. And so when I saw that the budget was getting cut like that, I issued a bill, right, to speak to the equities in the budget that spoke to the $10.4 million, and we did put money in it to right size it, and we increased the per pupil spending, meaning that every school got more money depending on how many students you had, right? But we already know that Anacostia enrollment has been dropping. We already know that Kramer enrollment is at capacity. We already know that Ballou went from about 900 students in the last 2.5 years to 500 students. So as the students' population decreased, the budget decreased. So they got to make a decision. Do I keep this art teacher? Do I keep this social science teacher? Do I keep this history teacher? All this is questions that the student, that the administration have to have that's going to have an effect on the students. And so I felt like we wasn't doing enough, right, to invest in what we want to see more of. And we have a lot of these conversations about the racial inequities in D.C., and we lay out the carpet for new people. D.C. want to reach $1 million people in population. I know that. And so in doing that, they building these buildings. You look down to like in the old Capers area down southwest, in that area you see all these massive buildings going up. That's not even full, right? And then it's just building. We putting a lot of emphasis on building buildings, right? I mean, you break out next to tax incentives, to tax increment financing, to TIFs, to build buildings. We're not putting that same emphasis on building the people. We're not.
That's right.
I issued a bill one time to extend rapid rehousing from 12 months to 24 months. It got knocked down. I felt like the compromise could have been 18 months because we know that a family who has been homeless, right, trying to go from being homeless to paying market rent, it's almost impossible in a year's time. Maybe a year, 2 years, if that. Especially you got a family, you got a 3-bedroom house that the government didn't put you in, and you actually going to be in a worse position that you are before you even went into the house once you have to leave, because you got to think your children go to school close to that house. You got pictures on the wall, you got comfortable, you feeling good, you trying to get a job, trying to get acclimated. Even if you save up money, you may not have the money to sustain yourself with a family from coming from homelessness to getting a house. Right. And so we've been fighting for that, and that bill failed 6-6. And that same day, we voted on putting $30 million into a parking lot in Northeast. A parking lot. Wow. $30 million. And so it gives mixed messages of where we stand as a city and what's our priority, because we got the money, we got the financial resources. But it's about...
we contest to things like that? Like the difference in the parking lot situation and the needs in the school.
So part of the issue is education and information, because a lot of people don't know what's going on a daily basis. That's why I try to use my social media platform to get the word out what's really happening, because if people don't know, people that are not participating, and there's an old saying, if you're not at the table, then you're on the menu. And there's more people from other areas of the city that come down to the council advocating, going hard about what they need. Yeah. So Banneker, for example, you know, I got a proposal. I mean, I got a letter signed on to helping Banneker renovate their school. But what I didn't know that there was another proposal to build a brand new facility at another campus. And so I don't know what was going on at Banneker, but I signed on to the letter because I feel like they was one of the highest performing schools, but the building is literally falling apart every day. So what I didn't know, from the students came to meet in my office, they was in the hallway, they filled the building up in our office, they wanted a brand new school. So I sided with the young people. And in first reading, even though Banneker wanted the school, it failed. But its children, the community kept coming, and yesterday we voted on getting them a new school. Because $50 million was taken out of their school and put somewhere else. So that money was restored yesterday because they advocated, even though they might miss some days of class, but they're not even just doing it for themselves, because most of them graduating. They doing it for the students coming behind them, that they can have a greater opportunity to learn. Picture if they doing that in a space that has the ceiling leaking, rodents, insects. Picture what they can do with a brand new facility where they can think and breathe and exist. When
to come to school.
Education is the foundation of any strong community. Yeah, we taking money away from education with an extra $1 billion right here in this city.
Like, remember Savoy? Remember the issues they had there?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I mean, kids was out of school. How long were kids out of school?
A minute, because I know we moved them to Washington Highland because they had a lot of issues in the building. We moved them around the city, but, you know, we ended up renovating Savoy twice to get them where they need to be, but it's happening far too often in our education.
How long you been doing this, Trey? It feel like a long. It feel like 10 years.
Yeah, it's
like a long time.
So I started doing this work as far as on the front line doing activism work when I was 17. I started coaching Little League football, and I used to be a star in Little League football coming up. But the reality is I ain't get no bigger. So I was like, I ain't going to NFL. So, you know, they said, if you can't play, coach. And so I coached my senior year. I was going to Ballou. And most of my players went to Ballou, Anacostia, and other areas across the city. And we won the state championship. But then within 2 years of me leaving Ballou, going to college, we lost 5 of those young men to homicide. You know, and first one was J-Rock, James Richardson inside of Ballou in the cafeteria, then Devin Folks, then Brandon Braswell, to Omar, to Michael Sims, with Pookie. We would have lost a lot of those guys. And we ended up to at least 9 guys from that particular team. So I ended up coaching. I made a commitment to God, right? I said, God, if you allow me to make it out, become successful, I'll come back and make my community better. And so I coached every year through college. That's how I met your son. Mm-hmm. You know, just in the community, helping out, giving back, and it created a platform for me to have a voice for the voiceless. And it evolved into what it is now. And then I'm, you know, a council member. I'm in law school. I'm a community advocate for the people that need it the most. And it's been a catch-22, being on the front line, but also being involved in everyday lives, trying to help people. And it's a hard lift because we got so many issues, and I can't help everybody, but I try to do my best with what I have, man. We just need to help each other.
A difference. If nobody ever told you that you were making a difference,
I appreciate that.
You are. We love you.
Let's get to one of the main issues we're having right now in the city, and it's the senseless violence.
Yeah.
Me coming from the streets, it's sad when I look back at it. You know, because I see innocent kids losing their lives for other people's issues.
Mm-hmm.
Where your mind at on this? Like, how do you? Because me personally, I feel like it can't be just one thing. Yeah. It's not just one thing. It's got to be multiple things. I feel like at home, it starts at home.
Yeah.
What you feel about
that? So at the basis of it, I just think that I'm from D.C., born and raised, born in Greater Southeast, now United Medical Center. I just feel like that we never, as a city, fully recovered from the crack epidemic that swept through Washington, D.C., from the amount of violence, you know, to the social service needs, to the broken homes. And as a result, Ward 7, Ward 8, parts of Ward 5, and even parts of Ward 6 down Southwest, is faced with a lot of neglect. Right now in Ward 8, we have 82% single-parent households ran predominantly by African-American women, right? So that's already a breakdown in instruction. We said start at home with the family. And then you have, you know, the influence of the streets influencing the young people. Then you have social media that's adding another platform, you know, because people are able to communicate, beef, fight, argue through this on their hand, with a device in their hand. And I think that it changed the dynamic of what's happening in our city. And I think that we ran a bad narrative in the city. For at least for the last 7 to 8 years, saying that crime was down. Like whenever I heard, like, you know, the mayor or leaders in the city get up and speak, they like the crime is down in this area. Crime is down, but I know I've been doing visuals and funerals every week when we run it. So if you say this, everything is good, you need no room to fix it. So when I got on the council, the money, because, you know, the peace haulers was out back then. We had a violence intervention strategy. We had people in the neighborhoods from far southeast, Sasha, Bruce, Hicks, different Eastern River, ERCBCB, addressing the violence in different areas, in the schools, in the recreation centers, the roving leaders. But when you took that away and ran a narrative that crime is down, you neglected. You had no adults to really intervene if somebody wanted to squash people but didn't know how to do it, or have somebody they can trust or rely on to get that done. And so when I got in office, there was $0 in the budget to address youth violence prevention. So we were already responding to it. We just put more of our money to MPD. But I just don't believe MPD is the end-all solution to addressing the crime and violence in our community. You know?
He just said, George G. Benson says there's just been another shooting on Bourne Road.
Yeah. So I know we had one earlier. So I don't know if it's another one again, but it was one earlier today. We've had 18 people shot in Ward 8 in the last 3 days. 18. And we had a homicide with a stabbing on MLK this weekend. And if that's not an alarming statistic, we ain't even talking about citywide. Citywide was 21. All citywide, people got shot. We ain't talking about the shootings that happened when nobody got hit. You know, and in the last year, we had 500 people shot in the district. But you'll never hear no politician or leader say that number. because it sounds too alarming. But we had 500 people plus shot last year, and the year before that.
Trick the statistics.
You know how it go.
Yeah.
If you manipulate the numbers or say a partial truth, then you get a perception. But we know we hearing the gunshots every night.
Any programs for like the youngins? Anything they could go to, or anything y'all putting together for they could come together and like meet up?
So one of the things we worked on, right, because we do have to work with the mayor's office, because they run the government, from the fire department, the police department, to the one's office. So now we got what is called the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, and it's fairly new. It's been in existence for a little over a year, and they've been able to give grants out to nonprofit organizations to youth violence prevention. When that first opened, we had $0. I fought to get $750,000 in the budget for that, and now we up to like $2.3 million. And that's still a drop in the bucket. We talking about $15 billion. You're talking about lives. In Ward 8, we had over 18 kids shot in Ward 8 in the last 9 months. Matter of fact, we had another one shot Monday, so we up to 19. And so there's programs. So we got Not Care the Streets. You got J&J Monitoring. You got training grounds. You got East River Collaborative. You got a lot of these different non-profit organizations that's getting back out into the community and creating vehicles. And one of the things you want to do is hire a lot of returning citizens. That's people who got records, that's been locked up, incarcerated, been in the streets, that have the wherewithal and the credibility in the community to come back. We need to hire those people to become change agents in the community they once destroyed. And so we've been focused on that because, it's hard for that population to get a job or get a career. And so we trying to say, we don't want to leave you out there. We have over 70,000 returning citizens in D.C. Why not hire them to police their own community, to address the young guys on the streets that's carrying the 40, 30 rounds on their hip, to kind of give them some guidance, because they already been to the federal penitentiaries, to Lawton, been in that lifestyle. And even ladies, because the fastest growing prison population right now is African American females. And we trying to empower them to come back and give back to their community, become an asset and a change agent in their community. And so that's the language I'm speaking on a daily basis and have been. And we making some progress with that. But we still playing behind the 8 ball, still putting a Band-Aid on, as you say, a bullet wound, because we so far behind in addressing the issues because it's been neglected for so long.
The OGs, man, I feel like the OGs of the city, they got to step up more. Because, I know a lot of older people, once they make it to a certain age, they don't even want to deal with the drama. I feel like it's our duty almost a little bit, because that's the thing I love to do with these youngers. When I get around them, I teach, not entice. I've been through so much in my life, I can never tell somebody to take the road I took. Yeah. Because it don't make sense. And then, when I see a lot of these youngers that I raised go through the same issues, and it's sad, and like I say, man, I pray that it get better. Some of this stuff is inevitable out here. In any culture we live in. It ain't just ours, but it's tough out here in Washington, D.C. right now.
Definitely. I see you do a lot of walks and marches. How do you think that's improving the city? Or do you think that's making an impact?
So I really am tired of marches and walks, for real. And because the reality is the population that need to be affected by it the most don't participate. Mm-hmm. They're not engaged. Mm-hmm. And so what we've been doing lately was doing what I call resources to the block. And so I go and get I go figure out who got some jobs. I bring them on the walk. I figure like mental health agencies. I bring them with us. I bring substance abuse counselors on the walk. I bring violence interrupters, is what we call them, incredible messengers, with me as well. So we engage them and we try to get them signed up for different programs instead of just walking, because you're walking right past them. They like, Trey, what's up? They give you a pound and say what's up, but they not engaged, right? And so we try to do resource to the block to figure out what the need is and how we can help you come from point A to point B, because I know I only got where I am by the grace of God, first of all, that He spared me through so many different situations, and because somebody reached out and gave me a hand and said, man, come this way when I wanted to go that way. Because I was the same young man at the age of 15, carrying. I had no desire to harm nobody, but I was in some situations that was detrimental, and I figured if someone had to go down, I was going to be armed. But I didn't want to hurt nobody, and if I'd have got caught or locked up, then it could have changed the trajectory of my life. Yeah. But by the grace of God, He spared me. And that's the situation for a lot of the young men in the community. It's a fear factor. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of beefing going on. And so we have to get them alternative to put the gun down and put something else in their hand. Maybe some tools to work on the construction site, maybe a business plan, maybe a loan, maybe a student loan. You know, what can we do to change the trajectory? Because not everybody want to be in the streets. And people feel like if I don't have no alternative, then I'm going to crash and burn. And part of it is we don't know when I talk to a lot of young men, they don't know who they are. And there's a saying with it, where there's no vision, the people perish. So if I don't know in the next 6 years, I'm going to make $2.5 million, I'm going to risk my life on the move, making $500 with 3 people. I'm going to have to split, breaking into somebody's house or robbing somebody. And end up spending 25 years in jail making $13 a week. Well, my potential says I can make $2.5 million in 2 years if I focus on this. But sometimes it takes us to intervene and give them that vision and say, man, you can do this. And we have to believe in them even when they don't believe in themselves. And that's why I try to tell the parents, like, get your child from that TV so much. Get your child from that game system so much. I even had to tell my own son. Fortnite, that boy be on Fortnite for hours.
But it start when they're young, Trey.
Yeah.
Because you know what I see? I see these females, they want they little babies to be so old. That they even dressing them like grown dudes and all that type of stuff. Robbing them for their childhood, making them think a lot of this ratchet stuff is cool. Like my thing is, I mean, we gonna have fun. Can't fake it like that. But a lot of this stuff is over the top. We ain't teaching these kids no discipline, manners.
Yeah.
These kids don't even have manners. One thing I knew, I was the roughest dude on the block. But one thing I knew, hold the door for an old lady. Don't curse around an old lady.
Yeah.
Clean up. You see what I'm saying? Give. And that's something that a lot of these youngers don't have.
And a spiritual foundation. You know, we've lost our spiritual foundation, you know. And regardless if you Christian, Muslim, Hindu, or whatever, we lost the reverence for God. And we don't know who we are as a people. Like it's harder for me to blow your head off if I love myself and love you. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm struggling, I'm eating chips for dinner, I'm beefing, I'm stressed out, I can't get no opportunities, I got my baby mother tripping, I'm depressed, I'm angry. Man, I'm gonna ride. I'm smoking heavy. I'm on lean. I'm on the pills. I'm off the perks. I'm self-medicating because I'm damaged. Yeah, they say hurt people. So when you feeling that hurt and pain, and you just gonna take it out on somebody else, because you don't value your life because you feel like, no matter time before I'm out of here. So you off crash and burn. If they want to move, to go get them, and we want to move, we gonna go do what we gotta do to take.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, I feel like we gotta find a way to stop the senseless shit. Yeah. Because it's bad enough we killing each other, but it's another thing when we taking people away from this earth who don't got nothing to do with your petty shit.
Man.
The drive-bys and just shooting. They been in the corner. This is what they do. They been in the corner now, and if they see skin, they shoot. Yeah. They ain't scanning. They ain't doing that. I mean, it's like, wow, suppose that was your little brother on the other end of that, how would you feel?
And the way the population shrinking, sooner or later it will be your little brother or little sister.
See what I'm saying?
Because when you think about gentrification, I say this all the time, we went from 78% African American in this city to 47%. Yeah, and if we do the census coming up in 2020, so they got to do a census again, which means the population may be even lower. Well, it's a great migration of people. I was in West Virginia like 5 times, and 2 of those times I ran into people. They was from D.C. They was like, "Mr. White, can I take a picture with you?" I was like, "Whoa, how you know me?" It was strange, but they would say they took their voucher and they moved out. They ain't moved to Maryland. They was in West Virginia and somewhere in North Carolina, and that's where we are today. That's why I encourage people to listen. You gonna be in this city, you gotta go back to school. You gotta start your own business. You gotta be able to increase your status and your income because the price of living not going down.
It's not.
The average price, like even the way the policy is set up, we have money in a bucket of money called the Housing Production Trust Fund. It's supposed to be money, $100 million to address affordable housing. But when you look at the money, 44%, we took a snapshot of where we spent the money at a period of time last year, and 44% of that money was spent to people earning between $78,000 and $90,000 a year for a household. Come on now, how is that addressed? What about the people earning 0 to 30 or 35,000? Those type of numbers. So that's the issue.
My man Frank He said, "As what is in order to convert long-term low to moderate income renter into homeowners and keep them in DC."
Well, one of the things we gotta do is re-educate our people. I was riding with my cousin here, Big Fats. He was dropping me off in the back, and we was talking about that. I was telling him the amount he paying for his one bedroom is the amount I'm paying for my house, and I can put my house on my taxes. I can transfer that wealth to somewhere else. I paid $200,000 for my house. Now it's worth $360,000. I can take $50,000 out of there when I want to invest in a business or something like that. But the average person who's paying $1,200 a month in rent, you're gonna have to live somewhere for 30 years. In 30 years, you've paid $455,000 to live in that apartment when you could have bought a property that's going to increase in equity that you can take and do other things where you can invest in something or you can will to your kids. Like if you're paying $1,200, just think about that, $1,200 a month. For 30 years, it's $455,000 that's going in the drain to a hole to make somebody else who own the building richer.
In the drain.
Somebody getting richer.
And most of the time, it's not our tax at all.
Man, that's me paying all that goddamn money.
At what point in your life you felt like I need to be a voice for my people, or I need to be a voice?
Well, I always felt like I was a voice. I felt like I had a lot of influence because I grew up in sports. I played basketball in high school. A lot of people know me from playing sports. And I feel like I always a voice, but I didn't always use my voice for positivity. You know, at some point I used my voice to do stuff negative. And I wasn't no particular bad child. I wasn't in the streets. I just grew up in Southeast just mischievous, doing wild stuff. And I felt like I met a few guys in my life that gave me a new view on what I wanted to do, you know, because I always felt like I was special. I always felt like I was different, you know, and I just didn't know how to transfer that energy. So I kind of mimicked what they were doing. Then I ran it. I always feel like if you stay on the path that God got you on, you're gonna cross paths with greatness, past the other people that God got them on. So I just try to always find my way back to my path. And on that path, I crossed paths with William Lockridge, like I told you earlier, then Murray and Burry, you know. To a lot of Murray Burry was my guy. Yeah. People look at my pictures back then, like Murray Burry. I was in this. I spent a lot of time with Murray Burry, even though I came up late on in his career. He took hold and he saw some things and gifts inside of me and started mentoring me and working with me. He actually endorsed my first political campaign. Yeah, when we had the posters on Alabama Avenue, had Murray Burry, Barack Obama, and Trayvon White. We ran on the sleep. And I was like, that's powerful for him. He a legend in the city. Even to believe and put his name on my brand, because I was rough around the edges. I wasn't really a political guy, but I had a good heart for God's people.
Right. I know you went through some type of issues behind where you come from. Because you not the typical.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, that's why I really love it.
Yeah.
Because you so professional, though.
Right.
It's like, you know what I mean? At the end of the day.
Well, I think that you never can get. First of all, I believe that you can't choose the way you live at, right? Because when you grow up, you live where your parents live, and so you can't erase your history, right? But it's about how you're gonna use all that. You grow up in the streets, you learn how to read people, you learn how to be quick thinkers, we learn how to joan, we learn how to be witty, we learn how to analyze things, we learn how to handle money, we learn how to make something out of nothing. There's a lot of good traits we learn growing up in the streets that we can transfer to make us successful in anything we put our minds to. And I see a lot of that on the other side of this life, right? Because when I'm going through a lot of things, it's not like I haven't been through something worse before. I remember the time I used to have to wait to eat my cereal because my sister, when I had a little bit of milk, my sister got to eat first. I had to take her milk out of her bowl and pour it in my bowl to eat. You know what I'm saying? I remember how to stand at the bus stop and cars by past and splash me because I'm at the bus stop and it's raining outside. I remember those times that made me stronger. So I don't neglect those parts of my story. I use that as an ambition and motivation to make me who I am today, and I don't shy away from because it's like using those things to go back and help somebody else in that same situation, and that's what it's all about. I follow an African principle and proverb called Sankofa. Return to your roots or go back and give back. And so I just had to spend all these gifts and talents to go back and give back because somebody did the same thing for me. That's all.
Everybody talk about like the culture, and you speak of talk about going back a lot. How do you feel about the culture in DC itself? It's a
catch-22 because I live in an environment where we have where you can get shot anytime, any given moment if you're at the wrong spot, and so I have to risk that, right? Because I got, for those who don't know, I got married at the age of 23, and I started my family in Southeast. And my then wife, who was a great woman, I don't have nothing negative to say about her. She just getting tired of hearing them gunshots every night, and she was like, "We gotta move." And at this time, after we got married, we had a baby, which was Trayvon Jr., my son. And I felt where she was coming from, but I felt God wanted me to stay in South, and I couldn't articulate what it was. I just felt that passion. I felt like I want to do something to make my community better, but I couldn't articulate it. And we ended up departing or whatever. But that led into me running for office, because you can't run for office in D.C. unless you live in D.C.
Right.
And that happened shortly after the divorce. And I think that it's a catch-22, because while I want to make my community better, there's still things in the community that are not always pleasant or positive. I show up to these crime scenes and see young men laying on the ground fighting for their lives, their blood leaking out, and it's like, man, why we keep doing this to each other? And I get tired, I get frustrated, I even get, stressed out. But it's like, man, I'm gonna keep my commitment to God, because I told God, if you allow me to make it, God, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna lay my life down for my community, And unfortunately, we've seen some of the greats who did that, lose their life in the streets, and that's the price you pay being on the front line. I take a lot of hits for my people, and I take hits from my people too. Because people say, I need you to be doing, how come I ain't seen you in my community? And it's like, I can't be everywhere.
Yeah, I be worried about you, man.
I was going to ask you, like,
I be
have
worried.
you had a real experience where you felt like you couldn't really, like, help the way you wanted to? Like,
yeah.
With one of those, like, angry people who came to you like, Trey, why didn't you this and this happened? Like, putting the blame on you.
Every day. It's an old saying, heavy is the head that wears the crown.
I'm with you, so
heavy is the head, because when there's things going good, you get the accolades. Things going bad, you get the criticism. And I gotta be, as a leader, you gotta be able to set both sides of the coin.
Right. And
I just take it all on the chin and figure out how I can learn from it to make myself better. It's really about self-development at the end of the day. The more I become greater within self, the more I can make my community great. And I try to listen to people, because people got ideas and thoughts that I may not have. And so I try to take that on and bring those into the pot. But I get blamed for a lot of stuff. I get tagged on Instagram when the police doing something crazy in the community. It happened today. About an hour ago, I was getting tagged on something on Instagram. So, but
let me get on this though, man. Now, this is what I be trying to tell my brothers. Now, if you're doing wrong, man, you can't be out there chastised. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man.
Yeah. Come on, chastising the Fed. Yeah, playing with
We can't be trying to ride and boycott and do all this for y'all. You see what I'm saying? Some shit just ain't your fight.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we gotta be smart on that.
Any young politician, anybody you inspiring that tell you they want to be a politician like you?
Yeah, man, a lot of people, man. I think me winning the election the way I did, a lot of people believe like, dang, man, Trey one of us.
Yeah.
Like, if he can do it, man, that's crazy. I know I can do it. And we've seen a lot of new ANC commissioners run for office, and not just in Ward 8 and Ward 7, all across the city. And, one day somebody going to be gunning for my seat. I'm going to be ready for him, though. Trust me.
We want you to go to the next step.
You wanna go to-
Are you ever going to really run for mayor?
Am I going to run for mayor? I don't
We
know.
want you to.
That's the big question.
That's
right
the
there.
Yeah, I heard that today.
question.
Somebody texted me that.
Think about it for 30 seconds. Really.
Yeah.
We need you.
I don't know. It's one of those things that I try to be obedient to what God called me to. And I didn't want to run for council member. People would tell you, I was like, man, I'm not doing that. I'm not into politics. All people always do is just lie and steal money. I ain't got time for that. But, when the opportunity presented itself, I did it, and the people got behind me, and I won. So anything is possible. I don't know. I'm trying to be a great council member for Ward 8, and that's a struggle all in itself, because we, even like uptown, we got a lot of people from all over the city moving east of Anacostia River, because that's the last really affordable place to live for real. Mm-hmm. And so I'm faced with the burden of all these different elements in one location. But, I desire to do big and greater things. Like I said, I'm in law school.
What's your plans with that?
Well, I really don't know. I've been to too many court hearings with young black men getting the short end of the stick and getting shortchanged, and so I'm really trying to use my platform with that to do civil rights litigation at some point, and I ultimately want to be a philanthropist. Now, would I become mayor one day? I don't know. The city is changing, so I don't know. Even in Ward 8, the demographics are changing, so I'm just going to continue to serve and do the best I can with what I have, but I need you all to fight with me, because that's what it comes down to.
Behind you, Trey.
Yeah.
A question as far as the legalization of marijuana and the dispensaries coming to Ward 8.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Do you think that's going to help?
Well, I just always say this, man. Whatever happened illegally, that transition to happen legally, other cultures benefit from it. So, so cigarettes used to be illegal. Selling tobacco used to be illegal, right? Mm-hmm. Bootlegging liquor used to be illegal, right? Mm-hmm. Running numbers and doing a lot of it used to be illegal, right? Mm-hmm. And now we talk about marijuana becoming decriminalized, and other people are benefiting from it. So it's like if so many men and women have went to jail, been incarcerated for doing something that's so-called illegal, it makes no sense for other cultures to come and capitalize on that and make money off the same thing that they, the same exact thing. And so I think we got to have a healthy balance when we talk about what's legal and what's illegal. But I do want to say, even in that vein, legalizing or criminalizing marijuana has kept a lot of people out the job market, because a lot of these jobs are still testing people for marijuana, and people can't get jobs if their urines are dirty. And so that's one of the things I've seen that was detrimental to open up the floodgates for people to start smoking. And I'm seeing people younger smoking marijuana or, doing other types of drugs in the community.
No, you're right about that, because that's like a double standard.
I never thought
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, they say you can smoke, but the job say you can't.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? So, hey,
So you have to choose wisely.
I'm choosing the money.
But
Yeah.
there's
Every
people
time.
that do smoke medically because they need
Yeah.
it. There's
Yeah.
conditions
Yeah,
that
that's real.
you have to smoke.
So
Mental
David,
health,
yeah.
High blood pressure. A lot of people.
So I
smoke
introduced
for
a bill.
different reasons.
I introduced a bill to address that, and also David Grosso has been heavy on that. Councilmember Dave Grosso at large about stopping DC government employees from getting tested who have medical marijuana cards. And so if we saying is people who have real health, because herbs heal too. We're Afrocentric people. We traditionally use the earth to heal our bodies, not these traditional medicines that they're making trillions of dollars on. And so we have to figure out ways to use the earth to make us better. And so we understand that, and we're getting around to that as it's changed throughout the nation, what we can adopt locally.
They said, shout out to Jimmy too.
Oh, Jimmy Black, that's my guy.
They said shout out to Jimmy Black.
Yeah.
Y'all be helping World Aid so much.
Yeah. So even for example, you asked me a question about aspiring leaders. Like when I met Jimmy was doing the Z100 parties around 15 and Henson Ridge in the middle of the street, causing all this type of traffic. I was like, what is going on around? I was get calls like they blocking all. They had all white on. I was like, man, but that's leadership. You can look at it as something negative, but somebody able to organize like that and get that many people together, that's leadership. How can we help this young brother to be an asset in this community with that type of leadership? And so him and I connected. I connected with several other brothers. I'm looking to connect with more people, right? Because I can't do this for the rest of my life. And we're stronger as we do more. If everybody do a little bit, it equals a whole lot. And so I'm committed to helping brothers like Jimmy and other brothers in the community that's doing this type of work.
So how can some more silent people that are like Jimmy and Tony and all these other people, how can they reach out to you or get involved? So
we have a mailing list, which is TRAYN white, the number 8.com. And we have a series of events. You should sign up on there to get a notice when we have any events. Join us. And when I have events coming up, you want to sit down and chat, ask to be a leader. Come. Your voice is valid too. I think also reach out to me. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and I'm not able to answer all my social media requests. I want to say that because I have thousands. So I try to answer as much as I can, but I still have to have a family sitting in law school. I still have to go to work, and so I try to answer. But you can reach my cell phone number. It's 202-702-6946. Send me a text, and we'll plug you in, man. I just think that we're in a place in time we can't wait to come together. That's right. Because things are happening so much, so fast, and if we don't come together for the fight for the cause for our people, we won't be able to have this moment ever again. And people like Trayvon White won't even be electable in D.C. Real talk.
Sound good to me. So as far as you said Marion Barry, was a great influence to you. We talked about him recently here at the radio show. And I said I like how he had start the summer youth programs and jobs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How do you think that impacted the community?
Man, it put money in people's pocket.
It put me on.
It's like if you're a young person in the community and your mother got 3, 4, 5 kids, maybe 10, and you get the opportunity to work, you're able to buy your own school clothes, you're able to buy your own things. You don't have to depend on one person or your mother or father, because I'm not going to assume everybody only have a mother or maybe grandmother, aunt, whoever raising you, right? And give you the opportunity to have work experience, because some people don't know what it's like to sit at a job for 8 hours a day. And I got the opportunity to work at Fannie Mae. and working in the computer division of Fannie Mae, I would never got that opportunity. It wasn't for Murray & Burry's Summer Youth Employment Program. I met a whole new network of people that changed my whole theology about life and business. I didn't even know what a computer science was or computer programmer was. I didn't know what a deck server was or computer software engineer was, but for working in my summer job, and inspired me to go to school for computer science. I ended up changing my major to business, but that gave me the gateway to say, Dad, I want to do something different. And it's just because of that idea of the summer job program.
Yeah, I love that program.
You love that program?
Yes, that was the best program.
That was one of the best things in the city he did for the youth. I think, do they got that now?
Yeah, they got it.
And still got
we have it. Yeah.
We talking about the summer youth program?
Yeah.
That's how they was getting everybody getting money.
Yeah.
Everybody get money.
But
yeah.
Shout out to grind season, man. Another thing is that we got to expand and do more. Because, I mean, the budget is not adequate enough to address the issue of all the youth in D.C. and it's online.
Oh, yeah.
So if you don't have a computer, you may miss out on summer job because you can't register online.
Got a call?
Got a call?
We gotta take the call before.
Hello? I don't know.
Grind Season Radio.
Hello?
We can't hear you.
You may have hung up.
Nah.
It's still on here.
Get the message.
Everything up.
We can't hear you calling. Oh, yeah, they hung up now.
We'll catch you next time, man. Call back.
Yeah.
Call back. There they go.
Hold up. Where Pandora?
Tell me calling.
There we go.
Oh, here you go.
Hello.
How you doing, fam? This Grind Season Radio, man. We got Trayvon White in the building. What's up with you?
Good evening, everybody. What's going on? Just wanted to see. I wanted to first off give props to Trayvon for standing up for the community, especially for 8.
Thank you,
with everything that's going on, especially with the tragic death of a young man that just died this past weekend. It's a lot that's going on in the community, though. It's a few of us that's watching you on the live as well at this moment. I just wanted to see if you could elaborate on a little bit more programs for the summer, just to see if we had something set up to keep the youth out the way.
So yeah, I guess I don't know. I may not know all of the programs and throughout the summer, but I know that DPR runs a series of summer programs inside of its facilities, and that's at dpr.dc.gov. And we support a lot of other local nonprofits who run programs inside the summer as well. So it's a pot of money called Office of Out of School Grants. And so we fund organizations and nonprofits and people to do work in the community as well throughout the summer. But
sounds good.
We're just trying to figure out who has gifts and talents to offer to the community and put resources behind them. And we've not done a great job of doing that with the billions of dollars we have in the budget. And so I'm pushing the envelope, man. Every chance I get, say we don't need less, we need more.
Yeah, definitely. All right, sounds good. I appreciate it. Just wanted to see if it was more that we could do on our part too, for real. I know we should probably, as a whole, start to pop out, come to more community meetings and stuff like that as well. So
yeah, there's a few basketball camps too, like Shackleford got a camp, Jimmy got a camp. There's a few other activities that's going on in the community as well. That we want to plug kids and young adults into.
Cool, sounds good. I appreciate y'all time. Y'all have a blessed one. Stay safe.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks, fam.
So, what do you have to say to the youth that's listening, all the youth? Because we have a lot of youth that look up to, I guess, people who they idolize on social media, rappers, ballers. What do you have to say to the youth? Because you come from the same, but your path is different from that as a rapper or an actor.
Well, I used to be a rapper. Y'all don't know that.
Oh
no! Everybody went to middle school with me. No, I used to win the talent shows in middle school, man. I used. I'm not dropping no balls. That is not what happened. That was middle school.
Some Trayvon.
No, I am not a rapper. So being popular, people feel like I'm in the music industry. I'm not in the music. I might look like a rapper. I'm not a rapper. I'm not. But I just say this: a lot of the music is facade, right? And people have to portray these images because it sells records. Like even you see a lot of the conscious rappers don't get as much spin as they do, and the music industry elevate people who have a lot of negative messages, and they control the industry. And so it's a lot of independent rappers who I give a shout out to and it's coming up too. But I just think that we have to. Sometimes young people become what they see, And if I was young and my father was a farmer, my grandfather was a farmer, guess what? I'm gonna know a lot about farming. Right. And because we don't put a lot of careers in front of our young people, we always put entertainers, from singers to rappers to athletes, always in front of our communities. Our community feel like those are the leaders. When I go into a classroom, I ask them to name me 2 lawyers. Nobody can raise their hand. If I name a famous astronaut, nobody don't raise their hand. If I name a doctor, nobody don't raise their hand. But I ask any rapper listed, the whole class,
Cardi B,
raise their hand. And that's because of negative images, and not all of it's negative, but the images we're portraying in front of our kids, we giving them saying this is what you can become, and nothing else.
Like that is all that matters.
And it's on us in this room, and that's listening, to go inside the schools to speak to them and try to inspire them and become something different, because you got more in you than just a lyricist or rapper. There's nothing wrong with rapping, right? There's nothing wrong with being a basketball player or football player. But most of us won't make it to be that career, to be successful. And we got a lot of things that God gave us inside us that we haven't tapped into yet. Because the arm don't do what the leg do. The heart don't do what the head do. But all of us working together and understand each other's gifts, talents, we can make the community better. You got to find what's your purpose. Once you find your purpose, it's going to set a boundary and a gateway to what you should be doing. It can develop discipline. I know I can't be hanging out 3 o'clock in the morning on the block, pumping my little weed if I know I'm in law school and I got papers to do. Right. Because I got something I'm actually doing with my time. But when I don't know who I am, I'm just hanging out for 16, 17 hours, making my little couple of dollars, when I can be in school learning and I can make $100,000 for the next 15 years and I ain't got to carry the heat on my hip. But it's about changing the mindset and the paradigm of our people. And that take a lot of time, investment, and energy. And so I got a mentoring group I do with a small group of young men. I have a group graduating from college right now. As you know, we started mentoring. I've been doing this for 17 plus years. And, I took a lot of L's. I buried a lot of guys along the way. I didn't go to court for some guys who was involved in other heinous activities. And so it's a catch-22, but we do have some success stories in our community. We got to do a better job of promoting those success stories. That's why I'm glad that Grind Season Radio is live and popping in the District of Columbia.
Thank you.
This is the last question, man, because I know you got to get out of here.
Yeah, my phone was died. My ride called me.
Hugo Mo said, will 4-wheelers and dirt bikes ever be legal in the city?
That's a good question. We putting money into dog parks. Skate parks. Hello. Right? Millions of dollars. And I don't see why we can't put resources into 4-wheelers and dirt bikes. Right. And we have land, especially outlaw, that's been, the YSC is on, and not YSC, New Beginnings, and you Challenge Academy, but it's a lack of willpower by the leaders to be. We had a conversation, I guess, before I became a councilman about that, and it got knocked down. And so we'll start a conversation again, because right now I'm over top of DPR. That's an agency I have oversight of. So we're going to push them to try to figure out. But DC, the issue is access to land, to ride, and insurance issues for liability purposes. So I'm open to having a community forum and a conversation to figure out what we can put momentum behind.
That'd be nice.
Man, they put up the skate parks. They can do something like that for the bikes.
Yeah.
We can ask questions all
night.
No. Hope I got some answers for y'all.
What is it? One more caller?
I'll come back. Not a problem.
What's up?
Hello.
Grind Season Radio.
Hey, yes. Can you tell us, is the Goodman League going to go through with everything this year?
So that's a good question. So I talked to Miles. Miles hit me up like 6 o'clock this morning. Miles, I'm up, but I'm not up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he said, council member, because he was, it was a series of violence in the Berry Farms neighborhood. It was a shooting today in Berry Farms. It was one yesterday and the day before. And so people are concerned, like, do I want to come to this game and have, Thursday, yeah. And so today is Miles Rawls Day in the District of Columbia. We did a proclamation for him I did last year, and also the mayor. And so we supposed to have something in the farm today, but we did not have it because of the violence. We had it because there's supposed to be a thunderstorm tonight. But we are gonna have the games this summer. And we're going to ask the guys, man, to hold off and show some respect for the elders and the legendary activities happening in our community, man. And, they don't have MPD down there and all that, but MPD is not the end-all solution to stopping violence, man. It's about me knowing that my man, my brother, sister about to lunch out and go down here and do something, and it's on me to tell them, man, that ain't a good idea, homie. And that's when the violence stops. And so we are going to have a Goodman League this summer. I might get on shoot a few shots myself. I'm washed up, but I try my hand.
Thank you for calling. I hope you All right, no, we just got.
Hello.
Hello.
Visto.
What's up?
Hold on, wait, Visto, look. Man, you know I need to talk to you, man. I need to get Trayvon out of here. Cause you called in like 2 minutes.
I
we
bet.
Can really talk.
You want me to call back? You said call back in 2 minutes?
2 minutes. We waiting on your call, V. We want to holler at you, bro, man.
All right, cool. I'll do that.
All right. We're going to take our flip and Trey. Let Trey get out of his phone by the dial.
Both my phones already dead.
Oh, you need the charger?
Yeah.
You charge?
Yeah.
I ain't say nothing.
Thank you for showing up for us. And you will be back soon, right?
I'll be back soon. Just let me know.
Yeah.
All right.
They have a bunch of questions.
I'm on the way.
We're going to take the hotline bling. Trey on hotline bling.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm with it. Yeah. Okay, right back on.
All right. We get us a picture while I charge you.
Yeah.
Everybody juice. How? I still
You
got
got
juice.
juice?
And I'm
Do it
usually
again
the
next
one
week.
gone with the juice.
I want 24.
I be on the run.
You on what?
My shit died.
Well, I got all of it. Everybody got it.
What's this? Short? Oh, his head jump.
Girl.
Oh, girl.
You ain't got a small sweatsuit over there? What's that? Get that to him. Give that to him.
Now, this is yours, Trey, man.
Thank you.
Oh, damn. That's all right, man. I'm definitely coming back.
He said it's small, right?
Had to find something for him. Had to find something for him.
You gotta rock that. Let everybody know what's going on.
All right.
That's right.
Yeah, definitely, bro.
I still know we gotta have an appointment when I get back this time for
We
my
could have
next
got
out
in
of
here last
town.
week. I ain't talk to you, man. We gotta, we gonna make it happen.
Ain't crazy. Crazy
She's
color.
healing. She's healing.
Crazy color.
Man,
just
so
got
listen,
it.
man.
Yes.
Hello.
Y'all already know what it is,
7
man.
hours.
I appreciate that so much. And
Yes.
if y'all want to see the rest of the interview, go to Facebook Live. But we in here, man. And another thing I want to talk about today. Grown men playing the glizzy game.
What's wrong with it? You gotta, it's a technique. Right? You gotta break it. It's
Slide
all
it.
right here.
They, hold up.
It is.
See,
You don't know what glizzy
see
is?
that go back to what he just said. Men not checking men. You see what I'm saying? If you allow a man,
To play with you?
not even that, just the thought of it.
They
Like,
say slider style though.
A slider? What's the
That's-
slider style?
See,
I never heard of that.
that's the people laugh at it so much that they ain't gonna never stop doing it. But at the end of the day, the thought of a man imagining another man sucking a penis is disturbing. That is very disturbing to me. And that's exactly what's going on in all y'all community. You got men watching other men eat, imagine them sucking another man's penis.
It's overboard.
I don't
now.
understand it. So until you start to realize that that's really what you doing, when you saying, "Oh yeah, you like them grown men," like you like them grown men. Damn, this That's American food though.
Hold up.
Hot dog is one of America's staples.
I don't see women playing the eat pussy game. A girl eating a peach and she's like, oh, you eat that box, or you eat that box like that, huh?
No, I don't. That's I said. When did it start? How did it start?
It got out of hand.
It did, no, cause it been like that. It just got super out of control.
I was down here, y'all. Listen to me. This is what I'm saying. How it's crazy. I was out here getting the motherfucking hot dog. 4, 5 youngers walking up, don't know me. Told my man, he getting the glizzy. Cool, take that call. Grind Season Radio, man. This is Varsity God. What's up?
What's up? What's up?
What's up?
That's Visto.
Hey, hippie on the airway.
Man, hey Visto, man, what is the deal, Slim?
Yeah, Dog V. What's up, bro?
Man, I can't call it, man. You know you one of my dogs, man. I got much love and respect for you, Slim.
Likewise, bro. That shit is mutual, very mutual.
I already know, man. What you got going on, man?
Man, I got racket shit, bro. You know I moved to Cali. I'm out there now.
I got to come out there and fuck with you, man. Take me to a party or something out there, man.
Oh yeah, it's parties. It's lit out. Lit out that motherfucker for real. Oh man. Parties at night. Like yeah, but I've been linking with a lot of artists from home because you know everybody go out Cali. So I've been working with a lot of people. I did Leash. I produced his. I'm producing now too. I produced his first time. Yeah, man.
Man, you got the record with Riff, the video clean as shit.
Crazy.
That's what I'm saying. We working. I'm trying to get this shit momentum back up.
Hey, V, tell them about that Ziggadoodles, man. Tell them about that Ziggadoodles. They missing it.
Yeah, that's the shit that's tripping me out. This shit like an instant sensation. Like this, I got this Niggadoodles cannabis strain. DMV DC's first ever designer cannabis strain.
What is it? Is it sativa?
Man, that shit gay.
It's a hybrid. Yeah, it's a hybrid indica dominant.
Gay.
Indica dominant. Yeah, it puts you on your ass. That's it, fire. But I've been doing that, working with the marijuana out in Cali. I got a couple growers. I've been learning from them, learning how to grow. You know what I'm saying? I just be doing that out there and then producing, working on my record. You know what I'm saying? And just get ready to be consistent or something. And you know what I'm saying? Invest more money into my shit. You know what I'm saying? And just take it to the next level.
Hey, V, you know one thing I ain't gonna never forget, man? That goddamn Fillmore performance, man.
That's what I'm saying. I gotta get back to that level, but past that, like I gotta be torn now. Like it's time to tour. So that's what I've been doing out Cali, just putting together a lot of big situations and really just networking and meeting the right people. Like God put me in the right path because I'm meeting all the right people that can, and they love what I already got going on because they don't know me. So they like, man, he is hard. So I got a lot of people out there that's starting to form and really put me in the right places where I can, you know what I'm saying, network and the right people to elevate. So it's a good time right now. Man. And it's a good time to be from the DMV right now. This shit perfect.
Hey Slim, listen, man. We so like caught up in this shit. It don't make no sense. Like it got me excited just to see my youngins out here working, man.
That's how I feel. And people get in places too. It ain't just, you know, it's around here. Like people starting to venture out and see other things and network with other artists and other states, and you know they expanding their fan base. So they moving smarter than 4 years ago when we didn't really have a blueprint or a map to how you really elevate. So now it's cool to see, you know what I'm saying, the young artists, they really showing you how to do this shit.
Hey Visto.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to say, cause you know that's my cousin or whatever, but he don't get enough love on this side neither. Tell him about Mo Roy, man. What they need to know about Mo Roy.
Oh yeah, man. Mo Roy is one of the most talented people that ever came from DC. Like when it comes to making music, and he underappreciated. He a good dude, but this nigga work hard. Like y'all gonna hear him though, cause he working on some huge projects right now. I can't even speak on him cause the shit's so big. Like he doing real big stuff, but he just real vicious. Like his melodies, songs. Like I be doing songs with him all the time, cause we be at the same studio every day. So I see him every day, and his work ethic crazy. Like I don't know nobody that make more music than him. You know what I'm saying? Like period. Like that nigga up 24/7 making music. He like that. Y'all should check him out if y'all haven't heard him.
Yeah, Mo. Anything else?
Do you have you and Money Marvin linked up?
actually when he came out to Cali, I hit him up and linked him up with my boy Bug. Cause Bug took him to a couple labels. So I don't know what happened for that situation. But I seen him, we linked up and talked. So we ain't do no record. Cause he was moving around. It was like putting him in press and all that.
Shit, that's linking up. Hey, V, so I respect the shit out you, bro, cause pay attention. The average motherfucker from this area, they go out on that side, they want to keep everything to themselves. You've been spreading the wealth, bro, and I can't do nothing but respect you for that, son.
I appreciate that, Jarvis. Well, you got to, bro, cause that's on like, even me, like, I ain't gonna get no further if somebody don't help me. You know what I'm saying? It be things that people know that a lot of people don't be willing to let you know, and it be simple things that once you find out, you be mad as shit at the person. You like, damn, you couldn't even just tell me that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of people feel like helping somebody else gonna block their blessing. That shit just make the blessing flow more when you help people. You know what I'm saying? Like in my experience, like I help a lot of people, and people don't even be knowing. Like it's a lot of people I help just from this area in different situations. Like whether it be financially, from booking them at my events or any of that shit. Like I be fucking with everybody because I know what it takes to get to the next level. It take a lot of unification. It take a lot of momentum, and it take you know what I'm saying? It take a family to catapult somebody. So you see it all the time with the big clothing brands and shit. One brand be out there, then you see the next brand, they just getting pushed by the next brand. And now they the next big thing. Right. And now it's a whole conglomerate, you know what I'm saying, the big-ass clothing lines because of that. So it's the same thing. I just take that approach.
Man,
I've been doing it. Hippie Life Crew, you know what I'm saying, the still Hippie Life Crew. I got some new people in that. We about to drop some music soon with that. Probably like fall, just put shit together for video shit, so. Who
you feel like the next big thing out of DC, out of DMV? That's
unheard of. I'm gonna say myself. Fuck that. I ain't did shit yet, but then outside of myself, I'm gonna say I have no fees. That's my brother. He killing it. When he first started rapping, you know what I'm saying? He told me he was gonna start rapping. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been there since the jump. I've been on all his CDs. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my brother for real. So I say him because I know his story is genuine and authentic, and he really care about the music. He put his heart and his effort into it. A lot of people don't put effort in the shit. You know what I'm saying? So I respect him for what he be doing and how he can move. I really respect him. And then there's a lot of people, bro. Like Money Ma, like you said, Young Manny.
Name all the hitters.
I like Black Folks. I like Kilo.
You got Gleesh. Hey, what the hell is Gleesh doing over there, man? They keep telling me about Gleesh, man.
Making all that noise.
Yeah. Gleesh be cranking, bro.
Oh, yeah, that's what's up, son. That's what's up.
So Gleesh your ambassador over there.
Gleesh be cranking, bro. Like, Gleesh, I just produced this. I told you I produced the first song from Clean Side 4. We dropped that like 2 weeks ago, the video out called Piece of Positivity. Just Gleesh on the whole hippie wave. You know what I'm saying?
He said Gleesh on the whole hippie wave.
Oh, all right. Okay, that's cool. That's what's up.
Yeah, he said I inspired that shit for him. He did that. Then I produced a couple other records for him, too. Like, I did a couple. I see Gleesh, like, every day. Like, him and Moro, I be with them, like, every day. So we just be making music. So this nigga about to drop. Like, he got endless shit. And they love that nigga. Like, he ain't nobody in D.C. that can go out L.A. and sell out a show like Gleesh. Nobody.
Yeah, okay. I seen it.
Man, we gotta get Gleesh to call in one day, man. That'd be nice, man.
Yeah, I tell him that when I see him when I go back. I let him know that. Right. Tap back to him.
Hey, one more thing, Visto. How you get on this hippie style? Like, how you get on that? I like that kind of vibe. What made you get on that type of stuff?
I like to stay out of the way, bro. And I feel like I don't know. I always been the type of person where I can see good in people, even when everybody else don't fuck with them. So I always like. But that's how people been with me. Like, a lot of people didn't understand me at first. They didn't know what type of shit I was on. So I just accept the person for who they are. And I think that's what being a hippie is. You know what I'm saying? Just accepting people who they are and not judging nobody. I really don't be judging people. I might judge a person's actions, but I don't judge people. I really don't have no preconceived notions when I look at somebody. Right. That's why I can talk to anybody. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to judge your actions. I'm going to judge the shit you do, your mannerisms, shit like that. I'm going to judge you based on that. But I don't judge just your appearance and your makeup. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I just really think of that. Because I'm able to navigate and go pretty much, I feel like, everywhere. I can pretty much operate and talk to whoever and be able to have a conversation or be able to coexist You know what I'm saying? Cause I'm in my own. I'm not interfering with what nobody got going on. I'm my own thing. You know what I'm saying? I respect people. So I think that's what it is. I'm drawn to that. I'm drawn to people. You know what I'm saying? I love people. I love helping people. I always help people since the beginning of this. If you look at anything I've done since I started, I always did clothing drives. I raised money for people endless times. I did a lot of stuff for people. You know what I'm saying? And at one point I felt jaded with this area. I felt a little upset with the area. I felt like I didn't get the support that I was giving to everybody else. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe my sound, like at the time, maybe my music was not the music that people listen to. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just like, damn, I support everybody so hard and they can't even post my shit. And like that shit used to bother me. Right. But then when I started saying fuck it, and I really just start owning all the shit that I do, like it's not like I realize it's nobody. I love everybody, but you can ask everybody that everybody's talking about. They all be in the studio with me. They all gonna say Visto vicious as shit. Like Visto on another level with the music shit. I'm making records now, I'm producing that. I got one of the biggest artists about to get on this record with Police. So this shit about to take my production to a whole nother level. And it's my first song out. You know what I'm saying? Like as a producer. So I know this music shit. I know marketing, I know branding, I can make something nothing and I can make it big as hell.
Yes you can.
That's what I did with Snickerdoodle. That's how I got people tattooing my logo on them, my face on them. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit is epic, but I feel like now I gotta take this shit up a notch. Cause I don't really feel like they feel me yet. So I gotta make everybody feel me now.
Yeah, bro, I definitely feeling you, bro. I'm fucking with the Zickadoos. I'm fucking with your whole vibe, your wave that you got going on. Grind season fucking with you. You gotta come up here, bro. Next time you in town, you gotta slide up here, bro.
Nah, I will. I'm back. I'm back like every month. So I actually come in person to check in. I just had a lot of family shit going on right now. But yeah, so, I definitely come cover y'all, brother.
Where can people get the Zickadoodles when you not here? Cause they be asking people ask me.
I'm gonna have some people with it. I'm trying to get it in some of the dispensaries. But I'm working on that now. Try to put it in a couple of dispensaries.
You gotta get it in Gasaholics. They charging what you charging.
Hello? You lost?
We lost them.
Man, shout out to Visto, man, because like I said, that's like the game is about how long you can do it. You see what I'm saying? Visto was doing his thing, he stepped back, and he came back. He never left it. He always was involved, but he stepped back from his own art and started working with other people and broadening his horizon as far as how he make music. Now he's coming back. He on the West Coast. We got a West Coast person from our city that's on the West. When we go over there, it's going to show you the ropes of how to get around and stuff like that. So, you know, much love to my man Visto, Slim, you know. Real one to the core. And what's his name is?
Zickadoodles with a Z.
Zickadoodles.
So basically Snickerdoodles, but just with a Z in front. So Zickadoodles, however you want to say it. That shit gas though. I can vouch for it. That shit is gas.
Man, grind season year round. Hey man, what the hell is this, man? Deleon, what?
Deleon. Ain't no Duce.
No.
I see.
That shit strong, man.
This Jeezy shit.
That's puffy shit.
It's puffy.
Jeezy.
Puffy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. Puffy.
Jeezy
Avion. You're right. Y'all right.
He no longer Avion either.
He not.
Yeah, he ain't been promoting. I ain't been seeing him promoting.
Jeezy Ben gave up his stock in Avion.
I'm not drinking no more.
I like Avion.
Yeah, people
I like
aren't buying it
tequila.
no more like that.
Not really. People still buy it.
I buy Avion. I like
The thing
tequila.
about
You
business
used to drink Avion sometimes.
The thing about business, people don't understand what business is
Yeah,
about
tequila.
is building. If it's not a company business, you build it, you get the stock up and you sell it. That's what you do it for. You don't
That's
do
the
it
hustle. You sell. You sell.
You sell it where it's high.
for $1 million. You know.
Somebody came to me now and say, we trying to buy grind season
For $1 million.
for what? Shit. I ain't selling it for no meal. You gotta give me more than that.
You don't get it for $1 million?
No.
2.
No.
Oh man.
Alright, before we go,
I
man.
need 10 million.
Before we go.
Probably 20 million.
Baby, we gonna blow.
Altercations in the industry, man. Clout chasing.
Let's go.
Shit.
Okay.
We had our own issue here with
Lord.
Young Jose and Shy Glizzy.
You
I'm
feel like
hearing
that was
mixed
clout
feelings.
chasing?
on somebody part. I'm not sure which one.
Yeah. That's how.
Because at the end of the day, both of them are contradicting each other on what really went down. It was a lose-lose situation for both of them, honestly, because at the end of the day, if Shy shows up and they do something to him, it's bad repercussions behind that, and then they looked at negatively. But if Shy don't show up, he's looked at as being not what he say he is.
Why though? How we get to this point where?
Because that's just how our city works. Everybody else is able to ignore it, but in our city, if you don't address it, especially when it's so close to home in your neighborhood, they feel like, you ain't what you say you is.
He said that. That's the only reason why he came. He said.
So what if he feel like he don't just got time for that?
Just like he said, man. It don't matter if I did it for 2 seconds. He said I was dead.
You supposed to smack me out. My cameraman didn't get his camera took. I seen a video of Shy shooting the video up there.
Yeah, it was a whole lot to it. So I mean, at the end of the day, stop beefing through these songs anyway, especially if you got real problems. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing young. See, that's what y'all don't even understand. If Young Jose did something that day, we'd all be sitting right here calling them a crash dummy. So it was a lose-lose situation. If Shine and them did something that day, we'd be calling him a crash dummy. So at the end of the day, when you got an issue with somebody, if you feel like you can't hash it out and they close to home, don't even do the record shit.
I like what God said, because God told me, like, we mistaken what gangster is, because we expecting Shy to just go around there at 12 o'clock at night with all his chains on.
Man, motherfuckers like, why he go under the camera?
And saying Hefe.
Why wouldn't he go under the camera? I mean, he trying to lose his life in this shit?
It's like a double stand or a catch-22.
That's why I said it's a lose-lose situation.
For both, I understood both.
Nobody ain't getting nothing out of that, man. You can try.
People saying Jose Poser ran up on the smacked him out. Did something like Blizzy wasn't supposed to be right there, and you said that. But
like I said, at the end of the day, man, nobody can.
I told you, nothing gonna happen. I felt because they know each other, for real. Like, I think it's just a whole bunch of, miscommunication causes issues at all times.
See, but the thing about it is, you saying that, but at the end of the day, when the biggest thing you can do with a black man is hurt his pride. So now I feel like Young and pride hurt now. You see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day,
Jose, yeah, they ain't taking that lightly.
Disrespecting me, like.
They ain't taking that lightly.
And that's why I say don't do the public beefing, because then you can't back out.
Yeah.
You can't back out.
You can't say
You can't be the one back out, because now the last thing was this man jumped out with a Richard Millie on and all his chains, and y'all ain't do nothing.
And look,
recorded you.
But now it's like we're not seeing the next time.
Now I got you. See what I'm saying?
Now we're gonna let the internet put that pressure on that.
But they perform. They like I
see, but when you got, like I said, when you got
a
a public beef and you make just think about it. Shy been in this situation with Chief Keef. He had to move on something because he said he was gonna move on. You see what I'm saying? Issues happen. Luckily, didn't too much happen, but leave that public shit alone, because then you can't hash it out in private. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you can't do it.
It was no longer private. Everybody know everything.
The thing about it is, everybody feel like they need validation from the world. Like, why do you need validation so much from the world? If I got a problem with you, I don't need validation from y'all to say I need to apologize or I need to beef with him. Like, let me be my own person. Let him be his own person. Why do I need y'all approval? But everybody want to post every little move. That's the
Shawty knew that that song was gonna do numbers though. He knew that putting that out.
At the end of the day, once you're a public figure, you do need validation, because that's how you continue to be a public figure. Yeah. People who go unspoken go unseen. They don't even know you no more. So you get into somebody disrespect you as an artist, and this is something like that. We all know Shy the bigger in the business. You see what I'm saying? Right. The man in Calabasas, he ain't had to address that really, but he felt as though to keep my base, I gotta address this, because this is somebody who people could deem as credible, because he from the same neighborhood as me. So this ain't no random person. No. This a nigga on my block telling me this. You see what I'm saying? So for the outside world,
it look crazy.
If I'm a Shy fan from Mississippi somewhere, and I'm looking and I'm like, who is this young Jose dude? Okay. And he really on 37. You see what I'm saying? And he on 37 saying you can't come on 37. It's like, oh, is he really what he say he is? Because he supposed to be the boss around it. Mm-hmm. So if you the boss around there, ain't no, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody supposed to be able to tell you can't come. I'm the big kahuna on 37 to the world. So how is this young guy telling me I can't come on it?
Because Meek saying shit like, hey, fuck that shit, man. Let's get back to the money.
See, but that's Meek now. See, Meek now because Meek just
3-4
came from jail.
years ago, Meek would have been like...
Meek the same nigga who was up, same nigga who was in it. You see what I'm saying? So...
Cause he like fuck that shit, man.
I just think
let's get back to the money.
Whether you got a name, whether you don't have a name, I just feel like it's just dumb to validate. If I don't like you, I don't like you, and I don't need you or you to tell me that I need to not like this person even more. Like I'm gonna go to you or I'm not gonna say nothing. But again, the world we live in, so I get it. And I probably would do the same thing Shot did too. Like
I wouldn't.
Y'all think
personally, I wouldn't have done it. Honestly, I wouldn't have said nothing about it. I'm not bringing no light to you.
Right.
I'm not gonna be a star with a house in Calabasas, worry about a nigga
like,
who can't.
You gotta come around 37 to prove a point.
Yeah,
right.
to you.
Like for what? My point would have been proven over here.
Like you said,
that picture with them two Richard Millers,
but
I'd have put that up that
he
day.
Had to prove a point, but my personally, I would have been like,
I wouldn't. I'd have put my two Richard Millers.
No, my personal opinion was.
But if I did come, when I do come for a show to make my money, I'm gonna make it my business to come around there. But if I don't got no business to come around there.
My personal opinion, the industry know who Young Jose is too. It ain't just like they knew. So like you said, not the big dog industry, but people know who he is. So when like you said, once he said that, they knew he was credible enough to say that. Cause there's other people in the industry who know who he is.
I'm about $1. What the fuck is 50 cents? I ain't doing that with nobody. Right. That's like me going back and forth with a young dirty nigga. I'm not doing that. I bring 100K in with my eyes sleeper.
I mean, like, what are you talking about? I'm not talking to you for
what? What you make this money?
That's what I'm saying. Who's why do they have to prove the point?
It's to the. I'm about to say it's to these people
so
trying.
It's the industry and the internet. That's what I think.
System control.
Why?
That's what the way it is.
Exactly.
Like, no.
But it's not just
y'all
the big names,
thinking about it as from an older perspective. See, these are guys who still fight. These are guys who still fighting for their position. You see what I'm saying? Like Shot ain't Jay to say that. You see what I'm saying? And where he runs off his moniker is he Hefe. He the nigga in his city.
Ain't word.
He the nigga in his city. So
I get it, but I don't.
At the end of the day, sometimes you have to. If that's your image, sometimes you gotta protect it to keep your brand going. You gotta understand that's his brand. His brand is Mr. 37.
But y'all gotta remember the last thing with Shy before that. This is just I've read this. I was looking at the internet. The thing before that happened before this, the big thing that happened with Shy was the chain snatch right before this. So if he couldn't do both. He couldn't do the chain snatch.
The chain snatch wasn't a loss though. But only to geeks was the chain snatch a loss because they didn't snatch his chain.
Right.
That man still in a city that wasn't his.
I'm saying to other, like you said, to the outsiders.
Only clowns. That like even for Jose to say that in his song. For one, I'm gonna tell you what part I didn't like about that song. I hate when people mention stuff about people that they've been around, that they've been glorifying. That's years old. Right. So why were you still around him? If he supposed to got smacked around the pop,
years ago.
Legendary. That was years ago. You see what I'm saying? That chain shit. That shit. What, 5 years? 4 years? That's been a while. You see what I'm saying? Like, you was still around him. He still was cool after that. So don't mention that now. It's not, you see what I'm saying? Relevant. That's like a man, if you come around me right now, and I know you for hanging with somebody, and you come around me, and you like, that nigga been a bitch all this, like, blah, blah, that was just your bro. So what that make you?
So that's why you know all that. So you saying that's why you know all that.
Yeah, niggas get mad at niggas, then you say, oh, you a bitch.
He always been a bitch.
You a hoe, you a snitch ass nigga.
My thing is, how is he that, and you was hanging with him last month? You see what I'm saying? How is he that, and you was hanging? So that's what you hang with. You might be that. That's how I look at it, and that's how men look at it. So at the end of the day, I tell people like this, it was a lose-lose for Shy, whether he went down there or didn't. People's gonna say stuff when you're in a bigger position. Sometimes it's just to concede. Listen, I ain't going on 37. He said I can't come to the city. I'm getting paid to be at Abigail the very next day. What I need to come on 37 for? I'm on a flyer. You know where I'm at. You see what I'm saying?
I even asked the ice cream lady who's.
You see what I'm saying?
They got her barred though.
Yeah, but see, I don't respect that.
They got her barred.
I'm like, but why you didn't even have to ask her that?
That's terrible.
They said she can't come back around.
But I'm just saying, she was been all in fun. She probably didn't even know how serious this shit was.
But that's another thing. That's another thing. You gotta know who you playing with. These youngers.
You know they going. You know them young niggas crazy. She said what?
They on the live like the ice cream lady said. They like, man, what? She's barred. She can't come back around here. Her little doodoo butt ass can't come back up here. Little doodoo stain butt ass.
I'm sure she did.
I'm sure she did. For that
I'm
day.
sure she did.
She get back. The OGs in the hood.
I'm sure she did. They not gonna let the.
She been around there for years though. But she been around there for years.
So and then I go. So it was a whole theme. So then I go. We get from close to home, go a little further, right down in North Carolina. And I'm looking at the baby, right?
Oh my, you want the slim with slim?
That whole fight.
That's a bad situation.
I'm looking at the baby, right? And somebody please put some real security around this boy. Please, for real.
No, but can we go back to the person that started?
He's irritating.
And it's still like, then you get beat up and then go back on and say,
see, that's the clout chasing world.
Nah, because he's trying to throw people off. Like,
that's the clout. For one, listen.
That's
baby, don't ever make me think that you were in there with someone else and you beat him one-on-one. I'm sorry. That was it. I understand. If y'all jumped in, that's what y'all supposed to do. If a nigga walk up on me and my homie, you think I'm gonna say, go ahead, God, see this nigga. Like, what, nigga?
You got
go ahead, see him.
My man throw a half a punch, I'm gonna throw 50.
So at the end of the day, you ain't even had to move that.
But what happened to him? That man got beat down.
Who?
YB and Almighty J, remember?
He had it coming to him, though.
And he was bullshit. Yeah, he was asking him,
though.
But at the end of the day,
not them people.
At the end of the day, this clout chasing, like, y'all.
Too, Fred.
Huh?
Close us out.
Man, y'all just
get.
Yeah, this clout chasing going too far. Like, at the end of the day, because look at it like this. In that situation, right, where you become aggressive with somebody for no reason, and then you involve the public. Now, if either one of us, if this goes left in this Louis store, right? Dude said he had a gun on him. I didn't see a gun. I seen you with your ass all the way out. So where was your gun at? You had it tucked up in the flanker? But you come in and harass this man. Y'all had some issues. And then you get beat. You don't concede. You don't say, okay, they just jumped me. You still calling them all types of... Leave it alone, like
cloud chasing at all times.
And y'all gotta stop falling victim to the cloud chasing, because at the end of the day, a nigga will let you whoop him just so he can get you locked up.
Do what he doing?
A nigga will let you whoop him and then get you locked up and won't care nothing about it.
Oh man, you got that's how you got.
Ask the game.
That's how you
just
got
ask the game. Man. He got a lawsuit, still he ain't paid yet for whooping a nigga on camera, trying to prove a point. A nigga who said he's gonna do so much stuff to him. It is what it is, man. Y'all gotta stop falling victim and know when y'all bigger than the situation.
So Grind Season Radio, we on cloud chase. We shouting out to Trayvon White.
Yeah, shout out to
We shout out to Trayvon White and the community Ward 8 and the whole DC. And we fucking with Visto and the Zickadoodle Strand.
And we ain't playing Glizzy.
And we eat hot dogs.
And we eat hot dogs. All that Glizzy
nigga
talk.
Ever play with me?
All that
we eat hot dogs.
I dare nigga play with
hot
me.
Dogs.
All that Glizzy talk over my man.
I want to play with. I told you I was out there. I ordered a hot dog. And the 4-5 youngers walk up the street, they like, damn, that nigga got glizzy. He got a Glock on him.
You can't cut in my job.
I said, who the fuck you niggas talking to, nigga? They laughing. Yeah, man,
see, it's
alright,
well, you had a glizzy dancing on you.
I had a hot dog. I eat a hot dog. I earned the right to eat a motherfucking hot dog without a nigga playing with me.
You earned the right.
Yeah, I dare nigga be talking about, damn, you eating a grown man. We might fight for that.
Go behind them tents.
I might box you for that. We a box.
You gotta go behind them tents.
Nah, I ain't doing shit.
Talking behind them youngers. They don't play no games.
That nigga talking about, man, he put a tuxedo on them. Like, these niggas so white. They come up with the most dumbest shit.
These youngers, they vicious. I'm trying to tell you.
So listen here, this is Grind Season Radio. Pandora in the other room about to
kill us.
Go through the wall.
Man.
So we about to end this show, but I thank y'all so much, man. Grind Season Radio each and every Wednesday, man. Tune in.
Man,
number one motherfucking internet radio show in the universe, baby.
The hottest.
You dig me?
Glizzy.
The dinner club. The dinner club.
You know what?
Yo.